Yes, a very good evening to everyone, and sorry for the delay. There is a technical glitch, and a very pleasant evening to all the scholars, researchers, and professors gathered here tonight. On behalf of Scholars Circulī, it is my absolute privilege and honor to welcome you all to this session. As a forum, Scholars Circulī has always strived to be a space where diverse intellectual paths intersect and where we challenge ourselves to re-examine how we approach the past. Tonight, we gather to explore a deeply vital frontier in our discipline. I am delighted to welcome you to our lecture titled Digital Humanities in History, Computational Methods in Historical Inquiry. It is now my distinct honor to introduce and welcome our esteemed guest speaker for this evening, Dr. R. Venkataramanujam. Dr. Venkataramanujam is an associate professor and the head of the Department of History at the Madras Christian College, Chennai. With an illustrious teaching and research career spanning over 22 years, he brings a wealth of expertise to our forum. His academic journey is rooted in some of the finest institutions in the country. An alumnus of Madras Christian College for his graduation, he went on to pursue his MA, MPhil, and PhD from the Center of Historical Studies and the School of International Studies at Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. His stellar academic performance earned him prestigious accolades, including the UGC Senior Research Fellowship, the Thurso Prize, and the E.M. McPhail Prize for History. He has served in prominent administrative roles, notably as the Dean of Humanities and former Dean of Student Affairs at Madras Christian College. He is a key voice in higher education policy, having served as a member of the History Syllabus Revamping Committee for TANSHSCHE, the Board of Studies across multiple universities, including the University of Madras and Bharatidasan University, and as a textbook writer for the government of Tamil Nadu. His work spans colonial legacy, temple administration, public health in the 19th century, Madras presidency, and international relations. He has also served as the local secretary for the 81st session of the Indian History Congress held at Madras Christian College and as a session president at the Tamil Nadu History Congress. He also delivered the keynote address at the third session of Delhi History Congress. Sir, we incredibly grateful to you for accepting our invitation and taking the time to share your profound insights with us today evening, sir. It is an honor to welcome you, sir. I also take this opportunity to extend a warm welcome to the faculty, scholars, and students present with us this evening. Your constant support, encouragement, and guidance are what we give this platform its strength and direction. Once again, I welcome everyone to this evening session. I'm sure tonight's discussion will provoke critical thought and open up exciting new avenues for historical inquiry. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this kind introduction. Very good evening to all of you who have come to spend the evening today with the Scholars Circulī. First, my appreciation to the Scholars Circulī. I think many of my students are part of it, and quite a few others, I know them very well. So I'm quite happy that they have taken this initiative to have these monthly lectures so that we can widen our academic knowledge and interaction. This is very interesting. I'm really happy with the term Circulī they have chosen. It means, just looking at what exactly the meaning is, but the normal understanding is a scholar's circle. But beyond that, I also understand that it represents a biological ring, circle, or a concentric rings. So it's just as the meaning says, I hope the endeavors of the scholars here, it keep enriching and keep building and grow in concentric circles, wider and wider with more in-depth knowledge. With these words, and thanking them for giving me this opportunity to speak to you all. Today, I'll be trying to speak on digital humanities in history, computational methods in historical inquiry or historical research. First, outset, let me start with certain writers that I'm not an expert on it, but of late I've developed an interest in this. I was really very much attracted to digital humanities as a tool for historical research in history, especially the kind of possibilities it is opening up for us. That is what attracted me towards this particular topic. And I did go through and looked at a few of these works of digital humanities in history. So I thought I will share this with you. So mine will be more an introductory lecture providing about the avenues in which digital humanities can be used in historical research. But to begin with, let us start with the known. That is, what is history? I think I'll start with something that is very familiar and that is very popular and very relevant today, and that is E.H. Carr's understanding of what is history. And he has said that this is a continuous dialogue between the past and the present. It is an interaction between the historian and his facts, and it is a continuous dialogue between the past and the present. It is a dictum, I think, that holds true in all ages. And I would like here, because I'm taking this emphasis on the fact, because we are going to look at the possibilities in which these facts can be looked at and interpreted or analyzed using various digital humanities tools. So it's very interesting for us, and in fact, as a student, I was very much attracted by the examples he has provided to help us understand what is fact and what is a historical fact. To quote, he says, the facts are really not all like fish on the fishmonger's lap. That's how you would initially introduce facts as to the reader. And then he says, they are like fish swimming about in a vast and sometimes inaccessible ocean. And what the historian catches will depend partly on chance, but mainly on what part of the ocean he chooses to fish and what tackle he chooses to use. These two factors being, of course, determined by the kind of fish he wants to catch. A very, very interesting analogy, example that E.H. Carr has provided us. In fact, today, we all know that the abundance of sources is both a very positive thing for historical research as well as a big deterrent, because none of us can really handle all these sources, make a review of all these sources, utilize them for historical research. So there's a lot of chance dependent on it, where we are, and that also depends on the bias of the or the choice of the historian. But very interestingly, apart from mentioning the kind of fish the historian wants or the area he wants to fish on, he also mentions very interestingly that tackle he chooses to use. We have been hitherto using traditional methods to access sources and to analyze them. But now, with the digital turn, with the digital humanities, new types of tackle, very powerful tools have come to our hands, with which we can analyze these facts in an in-depth manner, and these are opening up avenues which are hitherto not possible when you're doing it manually. So I from this point of view, I think digital humanities is gaining a lot of ground of late, and that has a lot of potential for future historical research. Of course, dealing with facts, I really don't have to go through all these things for history scholars here, but let me show one aspect of it with regard to, I'm sorry, excuse me, let me share it once again, please. Okay. So let me share just one aspect of it, and that is the kind of voluminous data that is available. For example, in India, when you take the inscriptions, the ASIC says that more than 1 lakh inscriptions have been discovered and documented in India alone across the subcontinent. Not to say about historical, when the inscriptions available in southern part, in Tamil Nadu alone, I assume there are more than 60,000 inscriptions available. None of all these leave alone utilizing them, analyzing them, and utilize for historical research. I don't think all these inscriptions have found their way into some kind of a document form for researchers to access also. If this is the case with the inscriptions, one need not mention about the availability of document resources. There are n number of document resources available in various repositories across India. It is here, I think, the digital humanities helps us a lot. Usually when we speak about digital humanities, we usually think that it is a very modern phenomenon. But when we try to trace and look at the evolution of it, we will be surprised to know that it began sometime in 1949, possibly even before that, but we can confidently say sometime in 1949, when Jesuit Roberto Busa tried to index the works of St. Thomas. Now that is what is called, he embarked on that work called Index Thomisticus. You should just imagine at the level of technology that was available in the 40s up to 80s or 90s, you will find that it had taken them nearly 3 decades to complete the Index Thomisticus. It was completed only in 1980. Now, we have other technologies emerging associated with digital humanities. One is optical character recognition that emerged in 1950s. Why is that optical character recognition important? But its development, its application was very difficult, even in the 1990s. This is particularly very important because of my association with a number of visually challenged friends of mine. They used to use Kurzweil or JAWS software to read scanned documents, scanned books and articles for them. But at that time, one of these had OCR, this optical character. It was just beginning. So it is able to convert the images into text, and then those texts should be read out. But this is something that was done in 1950s, even not refined till the 90s or up to 2000. There are a lot of errors in what is happening, but that emerges in 1950s. Then we have the geographical information system coming through Roger Tomlinson in 1963, and then you had the journal, the conference and association, Computers and Humanities, being started by Joseph Rabin, later became Humanities Computing. So I think most of us would have heard about digital humanities only after 2010, or particularly after pandemic, but we should not lose track that this has a genesis way back to 1966, when they had this Computers and Humanities, and the first conference was held in 1970 at Cambridge. In 1978, Association for Computers and Humanities was started. Of course, 1980, Index Thomisticus was being completed, and Standard General Markup Language is very essential, was created in 1986. And then the TA project was done in 1987. And in 2001, for the first time, we hear the term digital humanities used by John Unsworth. And then, of course, we have a number of databases, digital databases emerging, such as the Google Books and so on. And 2017, we had the Cambridge Digital Humanities being set up. So this is only a few. I might have missed some of the other, but these are major landmarks in the evolution of digital humanities as such. And it will come as a surprise to us that this is something that started the post-World War era itself, but is catching our attention nearly 6 years later today. Now, the development of digital humanities, digital tools have brought in what is called the digital turn in social sciences, or what we can call as if you want in history specifically, we can call that as the digital history. Now, there's a one of the pioneers in these area, or one of the popular person, is Sergei Noiret. He, along with his colleagues, has written a book, a handbook of digital public history. Here he says, not merely what does the digital turn mean? It does not merely mean a change in focus or method. The digital turn represents a fundamental reworking of the tools used to study, construct, disseminate, and share history. It has broken down walls between historians working in the academy and those working in a variety of affiliated fields and settings, as well as invited publics into the process. So that is very important. Now, one of the debates among the historians is how do we use these digital tools? Because now we have come to a stage where digital humanities is being offered as a separate discipline, but still we are not confident of to what extent digital humanities can be used used in historical research, though we know the kind of possibilities that are that are ahead of us when we use digital humanities. Is digital humanities a discipline itself? Is it going to and is it going to philosophically, methodologically, is it going to affect history and other social sciences, or can we use it only as a methodological tool? And if we use as a methodological tool, can we consider digital humanities as a methodology asset? Because one of the debates we had, one of the discussions with other academics in social sciences was that when I was discussing with them, they said, see, this digital humanities is not going to fundamentally transform our philosophy of our disciplines, our methodology of our disciplines. Only it is going to aid. But there are others who think it is going to go beyond just as a tool or anything like that. But whatever that may be, but I think we have come to a stage where we have to utilize these historic digital tools in our historical research. To what extent, and we are going to use is a question. Why this pessimism emerges is those of us who are using AI, almost all of us know that AI has this ability to hallucinate. It does not provide facts. No, that's something, one of the challenges that we have to face. So such glaring misinterpretations or falsities are a kind of a reminder to us as to how we should approach using these digital tools in historical inquiry. Whatever that may be, but what interestingly Sachin Oret points out to us here is with this digital turn is we cannot escape it, and that historical research as a work done by traditional professional historians are no longer the day. Now it is we find that public history is becoming very important. Involvement of public in the process is becoming very important. This started long back, but this has become inevitable and inescapable with the digital turn. He goes on to say the advent of the new tools may be the most conspicuous evidence. That's why he goes ahead. Most conspicuous evidence of the shifting terrain. But make no mistake, it is not the tools that are driving change. It is the fundamental intersection of theory, techniques, and practices in the academy. And I think that is where there's a long way for us to go. Particularly the oral history and especially public history movements that are configuring technology towards more democratic ends. There's a very interesting book in 2021, Technology and the Historian by Adam Kimball. What does he say? Is, again, he says he calls historians to recognize, I'm quoting from a review of it, he calls historians to recognize the influence of technology in historical practices and the impact that computers had on historical studies in the information age, independently of their scholarly work being categorized as digital history or not. But he's giving a call that let us look at what impact this technology has. He argues that historians have chosen to gloss over the transformatory role of technology for too long. And then he identifies 5 areas, brings out as different chapters. What is the influence of this technology, impact of this technology on historical research, on the archive, the classroom, self-learning ecosystem, and scholarly communication systems, channels. So these are the 5 areas he feels that technology impacts the study of history. If you look at the origin, he feels that digital history is neither the brainchild of quantitative movement or the product of humanities computing, but is described as a child of both. We should understand computational methods in history is not new. Computational methods is very old. half a century back, or we find that this new history or cliometrics emerged in France and then gained roots in history in America. And then you will find that the cliometrics was particularly very popular when we are looking at starting with economic history, and then they moved to social and other cultural history too. But it is interesting, when quantitative means we are looking at data and how these data can be utilized for various, whether it is economic data or whether it is demographic data or any other data that had been collected, quantitative data, how it can be utilized. But we are now moving further, not just that, but how it can be, these data, these computations could be made, computation of the data could be made using digital tools. But also you find that we are moving beyond quantitative, beyond numbers, and looking at how even texts can be computational methods can be applied to text too, especially using digital tools. With regard to the archive, he has to say, I'm just introducing, he speaks about there is this mass digitization movement in the United States and United Kingdom. And this is something Sergei Neurath, he calls it as invented archives, where which means user-generated digital collections created through crowdsourcing. So digitization happened over long years. By 80s, 90s, we find some of the universities, I think Stanford, Pennsylvania, all of them were digitizing all these various records and putting up. Now we have the British Library doing it, National Archives in India doing it. A lot of this digitization officially has been going on. But then it does not stop with the official channels. But what he says is there are other archives emerging from the people, from people who are interested in different areas. They are generating a lot of digital collections, digitizing and so on. He gives some of the examples for this invented archives created through crowdsourcing. He gives this example of Valley of the Shadow and Old Bailey online projects. This Valley of the Shadow, we can just Google it, because otherwise I'll have to stop sharing and show that screen. Now, this is a project which was started in 1991. Initially considered as a book by Edward Ayers. It later he decided to create a digital archive, and where he was examining slavery in both north and south of the United States, and a lot of these documents have been uploaded. So such like private digital archives, have really proliferated in recent times. With regard to classroom, I don't have to say how teaching has been influenced greatly, and he says this was happening between 1980s and 2010s. Excuse me, I'll have some water. What he says is that a technological change prompted curricular change and transformed not only how digital was taught in the history classroom, but also how it led to the development of new learning spaces. And then self-learning. Self-learning is through various workshops, courses, and online resources. Plethora of online resources available. One very interesting online website that we can look at is what can be called as Programming History. It's an online website. It provides us a lot of courses, study material on how to use digital humanities in historical inquiry. So these are the, and finally the scholarly communication that has developed during the Renaissance period in Europe. We speak about the copious communication that was happening between the various Renaissance scholars and so on, how it was transforming scholarship. Today, we don't have to say about with the plethora of blog, discussion groups, social media. And what we are today doing in itself is using a digital tool for scholarly communication, interaction, and so on. So these are the 5 areas how digital history influences history as a discipline in various elements. Now we can just see quantitative a shift from qualitative to quantitative in historical research. I'll just take up 4 areas. As I read more, though we can classify whether we can classify into these 4 or further, we find that even to analyze, use different methods, there is n number of methods available, n number of tools available for us to look at it. But I'll just highlight a few of this that I have come across. This I will not be explaining in detail. One is about digital archives and mapping. So number of digital archives have come. These are online searchable databases of primary documents, photographs, and maps. And then you have geospatial visualization using GIS and other softwares. So mapping software to plot historical data geographically, allowing for the analysis of spatial relationships in history. And then you have the 3D modeling and virtual worlds, reconstructing historical sites and artifacts for digital exploration. And then textual analysis and corpus linguistics, analyzing enormous volumes of literature or newspaper to track changes in language, ideology, or sentiment over time. So these are, I think, the last of it, while the geospatial visualization and 3D modeling may capture our imagination, most of historical research would particularly be utilizing in the conventional sense this textual analysis and corpus linguistics. With regard to the first one, I have already told you about the various archives available. We have of course, the biggest one is archive.org. Then we have the ndl.gov.in and so on. Then we have the Tamil Digital Library, to only name a few in this part of the world. And then you have, this is just an illustration, how all these, all the newspapers have been scanned and put up. We don't have to go searching for libraries, searching for places. Everything is there available at the click of a button. Maybe that's another topic altogether. Maybe some are chargeable also. But we are looking at beyond digitization. Digitization is only one part of it. When you look at, if you look at what digital history or digital humanities is, one of the first things they say is digital humanities using of digital methods or digital tools for studying history, and the first application of it is digitizing all the documents. That is something that has been done at a great pace in all parts of the world. But that is only the starting and the first part of it. But how if you remember, I mentioned about the OCR. Digitization in itself will not it's only the first step towards it. It will not enhance historical research altogether. But to what extent we can utilize the digitized sources is very important. So beyond this great achievement in what it does, it is a great achievement in terms of preservation and accessibility. It is the next fundamental change, and the real promise of digitization is to exploit the contents of these digital assets, and therefore to adopt and develop appropriate document and language processing technologies to search and retrieve information from this big data of the past. This is I quoted from another article, not from Kaplan, but Kaplan and Leonardo has said that. Now this is very important because the one is, of course, one should digitize documents have been preserved. The problem of going to the archives and going through all the dusty materials may have been solved. You can do it at the comfort of your home or your library. But the problem is you still cannot digitally analyze them. You have to manually go through each and every page of it. So there is a need to go beyond that stage, which we have already arrived at also. And that is where I think image processing and pattern recognition is one of this that can be done. So our text have to be transformed into formats that can be easily analyzed using various computational and digital tools. So what does this mean for processing of historical documents is extracting knowledge from textual sources, first stage, then quantitative tools that enable semi-automated analysis of various texts and ideas. What can be used? We use tools like natural language processing, now large language processing and LLM, many things are there. Then formal concept analysis and visualization of data. These are three of the important things that we can do using textual analysis of historical documents. I'm giving you one example. You can go to this website and see. This is the data lab of Bibliothèque Nationale de France. Here, Mary Purin and others, they have been working on how to digitizing the parliamentary records. So they have written article from parliamentary history on how they did in their data lab, from parliamentary history to digital and computational history. Yeah, NLP friendly TAI model for historical parliamentary proceedings. Centuries of parliamentary proceedings is available, a huge corpus of historical documents for them. So what they did was they scanned them, and they created this digitized document and stored it in a format called Exist database. And what they did was, when they did it, they did not put them as images, but they made it into TEI compliant, that is text encoding initiative compliance. So I'll come to the last part of it. What does historians have got to do with it? It's very difficult but by the end I'll tell you why it is essential. Unless they do it, this cannot be digitally analyzed. So they created a special one called XML TEI. So this particular model they designed, and why did they have to do this in this particular model, convert it into this model, into this format, is because the need to for the data to be analyzed by machine. So it should be machine readable and it should be an interoperable format. So for this they designed it particularly. And there should be a possibility to select subcorpuses. So parliamentary debate, so many leaders would have spoken on so many issues they would have spoken about. So as historians, we may not be looking at the entire thing, but we look at select leaders or select debates on particular issues. And so there should be the possibility to select subcorpuses. And that is the reason why they use this particular model. And then using this alone is not in, they have to then document it, they have to do it in ODD, or one document does it all. So this is what this one document does it all process, what makes it, it makes it human readable documentation from a single source file. And also there's a possibility which enables customizing schema. So these are the process in which your digitization has to simply go through. So there are many other formats with different digital archives are adopting, so that these things can be analyzed digitally. What kind of analysis? Textual analysis is one example that can be done only if this is in a particular format, readable formation, readable format. I'm providing here an example from Jan Rayon, a comparative text similarity analysis of the works of Bernard Mandeville. So I give you the link here also. Now, what does he say is that text, what is text analysis, similarity analysis is? This text similarity analysis entails studying identical and closely similar text passages across large corpora with a particular focus on intentional and unintentional borrowing patterns. At a larger scale, detecting repeated passages takes on added importance, as the same text can convey different meanings in different contexts. This approach this is particularly very, very important historically when you look at historicity of various terms and so on. This approach offers numerous benefits, enhancing intellectual and literary scholarship by simplifying the identification of textual overlaps. Consequently, scholars can focus on theoretical aspects of reception with an expanded corpus of evidence at their disposal. So what this article did was to expand the field of historical text reuse, applying it to intellectual history and showcasing its utility in examining reception, influence, popularity, authorship attribution, and development tools for critical evidence. Now, this was done for from a literary criticism point of view, from literature point of view. But I'll show you another very interesting. A similar thing was adopted in a historical research. Now, this is an article work written by Vedika. All these works must have taken a year or months for them, but it comes out as a simple article. So here, this is a work done in Japan. It's a collaborative work, and Germany, but I think all Japanese scholars, they have come together and they did this work called Computational Pathways to Intertextuality of Ancient Indian Literature, the multi-method analysis of the Maitrayani and Kataka Samhitas. So these two texts, they did this literary analysis where they looked at intertextuality, how the words overlap, where the meanings overlap, the frequencies, and so on. And here they were concentrating on two elements. One is semantic similarity, and other is the intertextuality. So they used three calculation methods. One, word embedding. So how many words are embedded? Core root words are embedded in both the texts. Common words are there. Here they used a method called word to vec. Then stylometric, how the styles, how they were correlated with one another. And here they were used a tool called Stylo for stylometric analysis and Tracer for text reuse detection. So these are the three tools they used for three types of work, for these three works. And this is their conclusion. I'm not going into the details. This is the conclusion. What they say is, by applying word-to-vec embeddings, stylometric analysis, and tracer-based text reuse detection to selected segments of both Maitrayani and Katha Samhitas, we confirm that passage MS 1.9 is closely aligned with later editorial sections. And it also mirrored the synergy with Katha Samhita, Kataka Samhita. So this strongly suggests that MS 1.9 was shaped under similar conditions of editorial homogenization, thereby supporting the hypothesis of its later composition. So thus, according to the authors, these results demonstrate the promise of computational methods in the analysis of ancient texts. Far from replacing philological scholarship, so for those who are afraid of how much of a scientific methods will be affected, far from replacing philological scholarship, they expand our evidential base and refine the precision of interpretations. So this is, I think, something very, very interesting for us, because you can just imagine the possibilities such tools are opening up when you're looking at numerous documents, whether it is a literature from ancient times, inscriptions, or modern day documents. It helps us to critique the sources, and it also helps us to come out with new findings also. Because this kind of analysis, it looks simple whether they have taken two texts, but if you are analyzing over say hundreds and thousands of pages, or more than thousands of hundreds of inscriptions or documents, the tool can do it manually. It will be a lifetime work, but I think with the kind of tools that we are adopting, they can do much better and more precisely in a much shorter time. Now, one of the tools that we can do for corpus analysis, such kind of analysis, which is now commonly available, is Voyant. Some of you may have been introduced with this. So large-scale comparison of a set of texts or a corpus is possible. This is particularly useful in analysis of inscriptions, historical records, etc. Software such as OM notices patterns, which is difficult and laborious to do manually. What it does, it identifies the basic characteristics of the text, such as the length of sentence, vocabulary density, average words per sentence, etc. It can do statistical analysis. It can provide absolute frequency. It can visualize the data for us, and it can help create a concordance of inscriptions and documents. So that is something this can do. I'm just share. Okay, I'll go to the next slide. Okay, this is a frequency analysis of a document that has been done. So here you find from that document what is mostly which are the words, which are the terms that frequently occur. For example, of course, you have United States as a country, but we find that the government is very common. Public is very big. The size of the this is called word cloud. I think young generations are very familiar. The size of the word indicates the frequency of the word in that particular text. So you find public, you find citizens. So these are aspects then that are very, very important in the particular text that have been uploaded. I'm just giving you a sample image here. You can also it can also represent it graphically. So trends are shown here about how various terms are distributed throughout the document and across documents, and then it gives a concordance. Okay, states is a term that frequently occurs. So state is a term that occurs in conjunction with united and government. Then you find that it is united and with every step. So we can be united and nations, united and assert. So this gives us an idea of how this particular state is associated with, giving us a kind of a contextualization of the various meanings. I'll just share one of the things how it can be used. Let me share something I made. It's a very, very novice attempt of a novice. I have not tried to refine it or anything like that. I just wanted to show the potential. When I put a raw data, unrefined data, without any kind of proper input, this is the result we can. You can imagine the kind of result we can get when we refine all these methods completely. Just confirm when you see whether you can see this window completely. Yeah. Yeah, I hope you can all see the shared page here. What you see here is a result that is generated by using a Voyant tool. Voyant tool is a free software. You can go to voyanttools.org and you can use it. What I did was, I did not have time. So as a experiment, what I did was I uploaded a translation of 10 inscriptions. Translated 10 inscription in textual format, I uploaded. Now, uploading is a very important thing. Before uploading any text, any inscription, any document, that document has to be thoroughly vetted. It has to be proper prompts have to be provided, because you should understand, no, one common phrase that is used in using digital tools, they say, is garbage in, garbage out. If you put garbage, it will throw garbage out. If you put properly refined data into it, it will provide you that much more better data for you. So for me, it is a mix. So you will find a lot of unnecessary things also, but just to highlight to you what is the possibility that is there. So reading this, reading the particularly in Kanchipuram district, I have put some 10 or 20 inscriptions into it. What does it come out with? It says that one of these inscriptions are concerned with temple. These inscriptions are AD is for the year, so that's garbage. These inscriptions are primarily concerned with gift. Most of the gifts are lamb. There are mentions about cow and other things that can be seen. So the number of times you can see, the frequency is provided. So this is a cirrus cloud. So looking at it, you can see the temple here, you can see lamp, you can see the gift. So these are all important terms in the inscriptions, which you don't have to go through, read, or manually statistically analyze them. It all automatically provides you this. And then it further does something else. It's very small, but if I click any of these words, it also provides me the linkages. It's not visible, I know, but it will provide that those words. Suppose I click on gift, it will link with temple, it will link with cows, it will link with lambs. So that's a very, very powerful tool. How gift is linked with what are the terms that are associated with. So it gives us very, very powerful information, easy way to analyze all of these things. That's on the other level. On the right, you are seeing the graph, the frequency in which you are looking at it. I think when you look at the temple is found in all the segments of the document. Lamp is almost found in all the segments of the document. Gift is found in, because all of these are donative inscriptions. Gift is found, but when you look at the sheep, which is the brown color dot, you will find it is only found in 4 segments. It is not found in other. It's very small. You can see the brown dot here, the brown dot here. So only in 4 places you can see. So you can really link what are the things that are normally gifted, and where the in association with what you find the gift of lamps. All these can be analyzed also. And then further coming down, you have the context, the conscription. If you want, the gift is associated with 90 sheep. The gift is associated with the land. Gift is associated with certain measure of land. Gift is associated with the lands as devadana. So all these associations crop up to us automatically. So these are this is one way. Voyant is one thing. This is another tool. I am not knowing this tool, because I got the help of actually my son to do this. So there's an analysis. This is the same work it does, but the same inscription has been put up for analysis here. Now it's very interesting for me to look at here. Now it does not only give gift for me, it gives Aditya Chola, it gives Amma Temple, it gives Amur Nadu, Chakravarti, and so on. This conscription, it gives me a entire list of concordance. Sorry, I keep saying conscription. I correct myself. Entire concordance of these various terms have been provided. When you look at the concordance, we have the Chola concordance by Lubru Karashima and Subraidu. Then you have the concordance of Nayak inscriptions. Recently, I had the opportunity to look at Ajit, who had worked on his doctoral thesis on concordance of Chera inscriptions. These are all just absolutely wonderful. And here you find the frequency distribution, where the temple word occurs 39 times, gift 23 times, lamp 17 times, record 16 times, burning lamps 15 times, so on and so forth can be seen. And then you can also look at the word cloud. That's also possible. And then if you look at, click on the inscription, that's even better. It gives me all the years that is detected. So I can say that is the range from which I have seen. It gives me the titles of all the titles and names of all the kings and rulers. It speaks about, because I've given a translation, you find king there. It speaks of Raja, Maharaja, Chakravarti, Nayak. So very, very in Perumal, Sadas, and so on, or Varman. All these are common names that emerge. With proper prompting, I think you will get the right thing. You get all the place names which are mentioned in the inscriptions. You can just imagine all the donated items: land, village, devadana, garden, kani, veli, pon, are measures: pon, kasu, panam, cow, sheep. So you can just get the entire range of donated items that is possible without going through line by line. And then you have number of names, special names are being identified. Ainuruvar is being found here, and then you will find Chinna Shetty, some very, very interesting professional names and personal names are occurring in this. So that can be the, and then it itself provides us some key epigraphic terms like Sabha, Ur, Devadana, Mandabam, Udayar, Nayanar, and so on. So this is able to, thus you can see the potential of how digital analysis can be done using digital tools can be used to analyze various sources for us. Not necessarily inscriptions, it can be applied to document and other literary sources too. Stop sharing this. I'll share the PPT.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir.
I'm not finished. No, one second. I'm not completed. Can I get another 10 minutes?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please, please.
Yeah, I have not completed it. I'll just let you complete it.
Yeah, no problems. Please.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just wanted to show what is the possibilities of using these digital tools. And then, of course, GIS and history, I'm not going to say much about it, probably because I'm not given you examples here. But then what it does is it is a spatially referenced database, a visualization, and an analytical tool. This, again, I got it from one of the existing work. What GIS can do, one of the possibilities, many other possibilities are there. One of the possibilities of GIS is you can place layer over layer. So that is very interesting. In this particular place, it's a work on book production. And now you can find very clearly how it overlaps with transportation routes, migration patterns, libraries, bookstores, and book production. So this is a visually generated one. So all these can be, so we can now book production is clearly associated in play with bookstores, libraries, migration, and transportation routes. So all these are available. So these are possible, and when you are able to generate such visualization, it enables us to better appreciate the correlation between these various aspects. But this is just one element of it. But there are other let me see. There are other studies that have that are there, where, for example, they can I think one of the work is by project done very early, maybe 10 years back by in China, where they try to look at correlate their civil services and civil servants from the localities from which they are. You know that China from medieval times or ancient times onwards, they have been conducting civil service examinations for recruitment. And they have a lot of list of civil servants coming from different places. So they were able to use GIS to map it accordingly, so that you can as years progress, you change the years, you can see the intensity of the regions, locations cropping up from where most of the civil servants had emerged at. So you can do that also. So many other possibilities are there using GIS. Particularly in archaeology, but I'm not going into that in depth today. But looking at all the developments, I would like to mention, in India, we had been doing a lot of this work for quite some time. But then there is the, even as early as 1980s, from Madras Christian College, the institution where I am from, you find that there has been a lot of work on machine learning and use of digital tools for statistical analysis of literature, of inscriptions, of sculptures, and so on. This is one of the work. This is the early work where Dr. Gift Ceremony or Chandrasekhar and M. Chandrasekhar, they tried and wrote a work on machine recognition of the Brahmi script. So this is one of the early efforts that had been done. And then they also wrote a very interesting work, an application of component analysis to the study of South Indian sculptures. Very early, they have done cluster analysis. They are also introduced, he has also written an article called they used statistical, sorry, I'm not recollecting the particular word, but they used statistical analysis to stylistically analyze the age to which each of these sculptures belong, based on the length of the torso, length of the nose, the height of the head crown, and so on. So all these various statistical studies using computers had been done. So very early, we are speaking, saying we had computational humanities long time back, and you have it in journal 1980. They have published an article on that. And I think kind of come to an end with this particular technology or method called cryptography in deciphering ancient scripts. This is an article. I'm getting this from. This is an article by Ashish Chadda on crypt. He has worked on another digital humanities experiment. This is called cryptographic imagination in the script and the project of scientific decipherment. Here, as against analogical and typological methods, like for example, using a bilingual inscription like Rosetta Stone to decipher Egyptian hieroglyphs, they are using cryptography to decipher script, because that is very important, because when a bilingual inscription is not available for the interscript. So here the emphasis was more on recognition and identifying rather than here. So the Indians their emphasis was more on decoding rather than recognition and identifying. So here he says they used a method called cryptographic imagination. They call it as an epistemological intervention that did not comprehend the science of ancient script as individual pictogram or an ideogram, but apprehended the script as a military cryptogram. And they used mathematical and statistical formulation of military code breakers through these, and numerically essentialized formation. They were able to do statistical frequency analysis. It's a collaborative project. They had a Russian team led by Yuri Norozov, a Finnish team led by Asko Porpola, and you should understand that multidisciplinarity authority was reflected in that particular. That's the article saying in that particular work. Now it also used computers as a technological apparatus. So digital humanities means or applying digital humanities in historical research would require it's a complex scientific enterprise. It requires expert knowledge of multiple disciplines and scientists, and each of them would be working on several components as a collaborative project. So that's something that I wanted to highlight, utilizing this particular example, what they had done and how they have arrived at. I'm not going into the details of what their surmises about this, but what has happened is what they were able to do is that unlike earlier decipherments, the cryptoanalytical methods metamorphosed as computational linguistics, that has become a formidable model to decipher or used to decipher the script. So what are the advantages of using this? I think that's what I've been talking all about. Now the advantages of this historical research would be a data-driven historical knowledge. Public engagement is very important. That's what I started with, because now public are increasingly involving, and that is another thing. So digital public histories are going to be the norm of the day, just as what we are doing today. And then you have it can be only a collaboration and multidisciplinary endeavor, and it is evolving, and for us staying relevant is very, very important. What are the challenges? We need the technical knowledge we cannot have, so we have to collaborate. So it will be futile for us to pursue technical knowledge in these efforts. Ethical concerns are very important. I already gave you the example of hallucinations and so on. So that has to be looked at. And then there is the question of digital divide. To what extent these digital tools, digital databases are going to be available on a Creative Commons license. That is very important, because once this digital divide is very important to be broken for a proper historical research to be done. Otherwise, it's going to be more biased and privileged research. So these are some of the challenges that we have to address. So these, I'll just stop. I'll give you some examples of various databases you can look at. Transatlantic Slave Trade Database. Valley of the Shadow, I already told you about it. And then you have Trove, digital newspapers, South Asia, open access, and endangered archives program. Some of the examples of digital databases that are available for us to work on now. So with this, I'll come to an end. Thank you all for your patient listening.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And now the session is open for Q&A session. Now the floor is open for Q&A session. So is there anyone asking a question?
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, Prithviraj sir.
Sir,
Are you asking a question?
Not audible.
Yes, please, Bala sir.
No, the other person who it was not audible.
So I think they can also use chat to put their questions.
Hello? Sir, am I audible?
Yes.
Sir, that was a good session, and there's a new thing that I learned today, and out of curiosity I joined, and I have a doubt that since you rightly mentioned that garbage in and garbage out, since the AA prompt we have to give it correctly, and what's the authentication of the result that we can come up with? Is there any specific tool for authentication? Like, just want to ensure that what we got output is correct for our research.
The best authentication is the researcher himself, actually, because we cannot dispense with conventional methods as such in ensuring the veracity of the results that have come. Because I think one of the things what I said here was that what we can look at is whether relevant output is coming, not. So that is something we have to look at, whether relevant outputs are relevant. If our prompts are very much refined, and if there is something called pre-processing pipeline, like before that we have to do a certain processes which we ourselves as students cannot do. We have to take the help of other experts in computer science or programming. So they will be able to help us do that. Once they do that, I think we'll get the proper results. So that pre-processing is very important. Like, for example, identifying this, they call it as lemmatization, identifying the core word, the care with which we are able to select the terms, the care with which we are able to make the different chunks, care with which we label them. So all these are very important before putting them into the digital tools for textual analysis. I think that that has to be done also. But at the end of the day, I think it's very important for us to look at the sources, because when we cannot look at thousands of sources, the results can always be cross-checked and verified. That is very important.
Thank you, sir. And I have another doubt is that is there any specific AI tool to mention that the ancient language, Tamil language, completely of different letters? So that kind of interpretation of current native language, is there any possibility to do that?
I am not aware, but what I know is there are many tools which can work on different languages. That much I know. That is possible. But with regard to the inscriptions, I'm not sure about it. But the best place for us to go for this and understand, to know about this is Tamil Virtual Academy. So if you go to TVA, I think they are doing some work on it. We'll get a better. But I cannot give you a concrete answer on that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your answers, and session was most interesting, sir. I'm happy to be attendee for your session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. There is one more question in the chat box, Ms. Aroke Priya, which is very relevant to the past question too.
The same thing. I'm not
Yes.
sure whether I doubt whether softwares exist as such now, because for Tamil Brahmin Virtual, but I'm sure the Tamil Virtual Academy and the Tamil State Department of Archaeology are doing something on these lines, but I'm not sure. But I certainly it will not be open source. We have to look at it.
So, very thank you. And Ms. Ritika Saravanan is raising a hand. Can you please ask your question and unmute?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Thank you for the section, sir. In your slide, you mentioned cryptographic imagination. I need some more explanation for that concept.
Okay. Yeah, you're saying about this. Okay. Now,
Yes, sir.
now traditionally what they do was, like in the Rosetta Stone, we compare two syllables or two letters. When the same, when you get a bilingual information, so here you have the Egyptian hieroglyphs, you have cuneiform scripts, then you have Greek inscription, then you can, from the known, we can decipher the unknown. So it's analogical and typological method. This is called analogy. So that we can do that. We can look at we can recognize these phrases, terms, and then identify their meanings. Now Ashokan Brahmi was also done that, because you have Kharoshthi script and you have Kharoshthi and you have Aramic scripts. So you can use that to decipher that they were able to do that. But in terms of unknown code is being provided to you, like in this script. So what they are saying is, don't go by, we have nothing, there's no reference point for us. So instead of best way for that to do would be to use the code breaking mechanism. I'm not aware, but that is code breaking mechanism would be using a lot of algorithms and so on. So based on those algorithms, they are trying to look at it. So that's what they're meaning by cryptographic imagination. So it's they say that you cannot comprehend the signs of this of the script that is available as a picture, as an idea. So without looking at it as a picture or an idea, what each of these signs would stand for. So that is what. So I'm not an expert on cryptography, but that's how they suppose we write random letters and attribute meaning to it. So in a mathematical manner, by using a code, they can decipher what they were doing. I think all these starts in the World War II when they were able to break the German code. So using this cryptography as a method, they were attempting to try to understand the Indus script as such. So that's the attempt that was made. So what they were trying here in this case, let me say, they try to match each sign of the unknown script and locate meaningful relationship between various signs. So what are the signs that are appearing in groups? What are the signs that are appearing in equidistant? What are the signs that don't appear together at all? I think something like these various methods they should use to try to make some meaning out of it. So it's completely mathematical. I'm not, but something like that they would do. So as I said here, you can find there is a frequency in which they're referring, the length of the text, the types of objects, the motifs. So all these are tabulated, and then they try to provide some kind of meaning.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much, ma'am. Is there anyone who's ready with your questions? Yes. Thank you for all your questions. Over to you, Yogesh, for the vote of thanks. Yes. There is one more question from Puneet Kumar. Is raising your hands. The last question, please.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for
Good
this
evening.
exciting lecture. It was very informative. It's like a lot of information. I'm a PhD scholar. I'm in my third year, so it was very useful for me. A lot of tools I felt like can be used for my research work. So the question I wanted to ask, like while analyzing the archival documents, there is a huge amount of for example, I am analyzing Congress proceeding reports to look into what were they discussing about the fees on education. Uh, a lot of documents are such that can be read by. I use the basic generative AI tools which are available for free, but they are not able to read it. If I sit down and start reading all the proceedings, I don't think that would be able to. I would be able to read it even for the first half of 20th century. So can you suggest something that might help me? I have a particular. I already have something in mind to look for, and is there something which I can use to like go about it? If you can like suggest some method or some
Okay.
methodology to for this,
Okay.
which is obviously ethical. Like I can.
Yeah, obviously. So many of the tools I mentioned in these articles, they are created in-house. Okay. Some of them are available online, but most of them may not be available for public use because they have fine-tuned it for their own specific purpose. For us to do that will be a very difficult one. One easier option would be for you to go for a paid version of the AI that is available. So that you can do. And there are some AI tools which comes with a bouquet of various other options. Like it will be drawing on multiple tools to analyze and come out with it. So you can attempt to do that. But what at this stage, in my opinion, you can do is at least what you can do using the AI is you can identify the important documents or the important areas, and then you can go and manually work on this. So that will be the best way for you to do it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. Over to you, Yogesh, for a vote of thanks.
Thank you all.
Good morning, everyone. As we have come to the close of today's lecture, it is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks. On behalf of Scholars Circulī, I would extend my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Venkataramanujam, Associate Professor and Head of Department of History, Madras Christian College, for delivering such an engaging introductory lecture on digital humanities in history, computational methods, and historical research. So today your lecture offered an excellent introduction to a field that is becoming increasingly important to historians and scholars alike. One of the key takeaways was the digital turn in humanities is not merely an option, but an inevitable transformation in historical knowledge as it is produced, analyzed, and shared. Your emphasis on digital tools are not that it is not merely driving history, rather they are transforming the ways historians engage with sources and communicate their findings was especially were quite important for the occasion. Your discussion on crowdsourced archives, memory banks, and other forms of digital archiving methods highlighted how digital humanities has been democratizing history by encouraging greater public participation. Equally thought-provoking was your observation on these developments that influence not just historical research, but also formal and informal forms of historical knowledge dissemination to a wider audience. And um, and especially the way you acquainted us to the computational textual analysis, moving beyond the traditional cryometrics, particularly tools like Voyant, which would be of greater use to a lot of young scholars and historians and professors alike. Um, um, Last of all, it is my I would give my sincere appreciation to the Scholar Circulī's team for organizing this lecture. And I would also like to thank all the research scholars, students, and participants who have enthusiastically participated and engaged in this fruitful discussion. Your engagement has made this occasion more meaningful. Once again, I'd like to thank you, Dr. Venkataramanujam, sir, for your inspiring lecture and for introducing us to the exciting possibilities of digital humanities. Thank you all and have a pleasant evening.
Thank you. Thank you, Yogesh. Thank you, everyone.